Hello everyone, welcome into Backseat Filmmaking. Today, Tanner, Derek, and I are going to be taking a look at 2025's Fantastic Four, directed by Matt Shackman, starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn. It's clobbering time. Alright guys, well, we're fresh out of a Fantastic Four watch, and we're excited to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
A movie that's been highly anticipated.
Definitely.
So let's jump right in. You want to hit us with a synop?
Yeah, let the people know a little bit about Fantastic Four. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, the Fantastic Four must defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his herald Silver Surfer.
Nice. From the trailers, is that synopsis is very vague and very, your players are in play and they're set, but we don't really know. We didn't really know what to expect. At least for me, I didn't know story wise. But I guess the first big thing is this our Fantastic Four family? Did we like them? Are they a family? Are we gonna go to battle for them? And,
I loved them.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved them. I thought, it gave me that family vibe. Like it's not. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't want to go too much into it without spoiling anything. But yeah, great family.
Yeah, their dynamic across the board, I think, really worked for me. I was, pretty highly anticipating that dynamic between, these are all great actors. First of all, very well cast. I think obviously we'll talk about Pedro in particular and how we kind of feel about his initial casting.
I'm anxious to talk about that.
I figured you were. But I think, their performances are all really great, and they feel like it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like they're just like interacting in a very unnatural way. They feel very much like a family. They feel very, like they actually care about each other, and they care about the work that they do, saving people and being heroes. And I just love that vibe that they're just the heroes of this world, and everyone just loves them and they love what they do.
What did you guys think about Ben and Johnny's dynamic?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's the playful banter. It's not just bullying from one end to the other, but they're both equally matched in their wit and they're like brothers.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with that, because you have the Chris Evans version and Michael Chiklis, and they're very funny. I love that relationship, but it does get to a point where that Johnny is kind of just majority of the time a pest. And then you have the 2015 Fantastic Four, and there's no chemistry there from anybody, but specifically with Johnny and Ben, it feels like Johnny just hates everyone. And it's really weird. I know it's an origin story or whatever, but it's really strange. This one definitely, does a better job of balancing them just kind of playfully bantering with one another, but still respecting one another to do their respective jobs on the team. So it's really, really nice.
So this is our fourth try at a Fantastic Four movie. We have the first two Fox one, or I guess they're all Fox ones, but the first two, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, and then Fan Four Stick, and now we have this one. Do you guys have any idea why those failed? I have the first two. I just felt like a product of their time. That early superhero, let's just go throw IP out there and let's make money, and not really having great writing to support it. And then the 2015 version just tried to do something. They got a little art housey with it a little bit, but they tried to do something different with it, and obviously that flopped.
Right.
Do you guys have any idea why this has not been able to translate to the screen yet?
I think a big part of that being the original movie rights owner being Fox. They had there's some kind of stipulation in the rights ownership contract that they had to make a movie, a theatrical film, every so often, within a certain allotted amount of time. Otherwise, the rights would revert back to Marvel. So, like you said, a cash grab. They literally contractually obligated to just put it out there to hang on to the rights to the IP. And it kind of feels like that. In fact, I felt like that more so about the 2015 version. And that's why it was kind of a rush production. Failed miserably. That one was a whole thing. And like you said, the art house vibe. I mean, you had Josh Trank directing, which it's a shame how that worked out because I was actually a fan of his work prior to that Fantastic Four movie, but it was a lot of studio meddling. It was just like all over the place with what they were trying to do with the team. Because it's like, how do you make the Fantastic Four like cool in the modern age? I think you just play it straight. You just play it like they're these classic heroes of yesteryear, you know, and that's exactly what this movie does with that kind of retro futuristic vibe that the you know, set design has, and the time period and this whole world that they live in, that they inhabit. And that to me feels like it's ripped straight from the comics. The other versions kind of either completely do away with that, like the 2015 version, or the early 2000s versions that kind of just teeter upon that portrayal. And I think that's why this one seems to just kind of get that vibe a little bit better.
Yeah, I think the retro futurism works.
Yeah,
I think that was a really good direction to go with them and start out with them. I mean, Sue Storm, great.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, she's fantastic. Gosh, those are going to be flying around.
Say that again.
Yeah, say that again. At least the Fan 4 stick did allow some memes to live on forever.
Exactly. Yeah, we got something out of it.
But this is the second comic book movie we've seen this summer that has gone away with the origin story in an origin story movie, or an origin movie for this respective universe.
Right.
Once again, I'm a fan of it because we all know, you know well enough about the Fantastic Four and how they become the Fantastic Four. So this whole throw them into the world, they've already been there
right.
for a little bit. I really enjoyed again. I think it's interesting that both of the movies this summer did that, and it worked for me. I don't know. Did you guys like that? You miss out on some things with an origin story, but you're with them.
I think, you know, with the kind of being able to skim over an origin, either through a flashback or some kind of exposition scene where, like, again, with these iconic heroes that you're more familiar with, like the general public, you take a Superman or you take a Fantastic Four, or even for this, you know, the MCU speaking, Spider-Man. We didn't see his origin in Homecoming. And I think that's smart because we've seen it enough times already adapted to film. But even if you hadn't seen it necessarily on the big screen, you're, you know, pop culture wise, you're probably familiar. So I think we can do without that and just kind of, okay, it's there. That is how it happened. Let's get into it. And like I said in their Superman review, I like the fact that that universe feels so lived in. That's how I felt about this Fantastic Four story in particular, with their respective universe that they're in. It feels like, again, they've been doing this for a few years. They've been heroes, and just, I mean, they are just heroes. They're just the protectors of that world, and everyone sees it that way. I like that. Superman, the public just loves him. They love his costume. They love his approachable vibe. Again, this Fantastic Four, they go to press meetings. They interact with their fans. They talk to the people of Earth. It's not like there's some, you know, holy, you know, group of people that like are untouchable gods or something like that, that just feel larger than life. They feel like normal people. And specifically with like someone like Ben in the movie, who I think I really, really like when they just make him like a normal dude who just so happens to have this rock appearance, right? But I really, really like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think with Superman and this back to back, especially, this is when I would proudly exclaim, superhero movies are back.
Yeah.
You know, with the embracing of their maybe sillier things, but playing it straight, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this was something that was written in the 60s, and they're supposed to be this quirky, like it's a family. And I just think they were finally played true to how they were supposed to be represented. Tanner, did you have anything on that about how this is again jumping into the story rather than it being an origin story?
Yeah, I think if they did that, it would lose a lot of the story that we got from it by doing that. Like either being a longer movie, or if not, just like the climactic scenes being rushed and whatnot. I think I think they did a really good job with the storytelling on this one. It was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't know how they were gonna go about it. You know, I watched all the trailers and like breakdowns of it and what it may or may not be. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot that some of the people I watched got right. There's some that, you know, yeah, it just didn't happen. But I think overall though, like I think that anticipation for another Marvel movie like this to actually nail like my enjoyment for it, and like leading up with the anticipation of it all. I mean, yeah, like you said, I think Marvel may be back.
Yeah. So that was actually my next question as far as the future of the MCU. This obviously being an extremely important set of characters, just in the Marvel universe, but being the first time that we are introduced to them in the MCU universe. How are we feeling about seeing them again? And obviously with like Avengers Doomsday coming out, is that the next Marvel movie, like the MCU movie? So that's kind of a tall order, right? To introduce this team and then having them presumably pretty major players in that story, obviously being pretty intrinsically tied to Doctor Doom. I think I was kind of nervous about them coming in, and then if it didn't do as well as it, ended up being for me, I was kind of worried like, okay, well, if it's bad, what does that mean for the next Avengers movie and all these crossovers and even just seeing them going forward? So how do you guys feel about that then?
I was happy to see them be able to make this a solid movie. I'm very happy with how this movie ended up being. I am still nervous that, there's still a lot of weight on Avengers Doomsday. Like, we have not set up enough of Doom. Whether that be what Kevin Feige said, that they really didn't believe in Kang, or obviously things with Jonathan Majors.
Right.
But either way, it's not the same buildup. So I'm worried if the payoff, I'm worried about that first that Doomsday movie, how, like, just what it's going to look like, because you have to really establish Doom in that movie.
Right.
Like Thanos was sprinkled in throughout years of being there. And you kind of got the idea of this was all culminating to him, but maybe that's just the route it's going to be. Like, Doom is obviously an Avengers level threat. And if it's something like, Ultron was an introduction into the movie and was a large threat. I'm a big fan of Ultron. I didn't hate that movie either. So I think it's possible to create a like a larger than life villain for an Avengers movie. And then you're going to have Secret Wars after. So I trust that they're going to give it their try, and whatever it looks like with RDJ, I'm at least intrigued and excited.
Yeah.
I haven't been led astray too far after Fantastic Four. I'm definitely excited to see how they're introduced into the rest of the people that we've, been.
Yeah, kind of see how they interact with everyone else.
And if his read is the one that's kind of going to be leading us against Doom, I'm pretty excited to see how him and RDJ are on screen.
Yeah.
Because I think that might actually counter well with each other. So
yeah, I think Doctor Doom to me is the character that already.
Mm-hmm.
You know how powerful this guy is. I don't think we necessarily need to see a buildup of that. So I'm okay with it, especially coming off of this movie and how much I liked it. I think I don't know. I have hope. I'm still concerned with how they might approach adding everybody in, like the X-Men characters and all that, because I think that's going to be the next things going forward, is introducing mutants into the world and stuff. So I'm curious how they're going to do all that. But as far as Doom goes, I have pretty good confidence in them to at least display him in a very, I guess, like appropriate way.
Yeah. And I guess to give Marvel a little credit, whether they was executed well so far or not, with their slop that they've been putting out since Endgame, they've at least sprinkled X-Men here and there. So like they're letting us know that they exist places. So, we've seen Beast, obviously a Professor X that got murked by Scarlet Witch. I think there's been some others.
Oh, we got Gambit in the Deadpool and Wolverine, of course. But there's some characters there. I feel like they're at least holding our hand through that a little bit. Right.
So, but I do think you're right that Doom is big enough that people know, like, if you didn't know Marvel lore, Thanos was a relative unknown to you. So you needed to kind of know a little bit more and how powerful, how much of a looming threat he actually was. But if you know anything about the Fantastic Four, you know Doom is, you may not know how crazy it's about to get,
right,
but
yeah,
you do know that he's a threat. And so,
well, the next thing I want to ask, I mean, and again, I know you're very eager to talk about, again, the performances across the board. I was sold. I thought everyone was really, really great. I was highly anticipating Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn, and Evan Moss, obviously not being, you know, in human form, really, but I think even him as the Thing was terrific casting. The one I had the most kind of apprehensiveness to was Pedro as Reed Richards. And not because I think that Pedro's a bad actor. I'm a huge fan of him. I think most people are. He's a very well-liked actor, clearly. But I wasn't, as a fan of the comics, he doesn't give me like Reed vibes. He doesn't particularly look like him. So I was curious about that casting because everyone else seems like, yeah, they look the part. So I was going in kind of like, is he going to be just playing Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, or is he going to embody Reed Richards? So what did you guys think about his performance as Reed?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was serviceable. I think they're definitely going a direction with the character that isn't a way we've seen necessarily before. Like, I think the early ones, he was a cocky smart, an arrogant smart, and this version of it seems a little more reserved and a little more, obviously he's the smartest person in the world. But this one really shows that his emotional intelligence is a little far off. He's a very pragmatic person, very by the numbers guy. And, you know, having him be a little, he doesn't have the like awareness sometimes of things to say, how to approach certain things, but in his brain, he can't even feather through that. It's just all, I got to get to the point. And I liked that portrayal. I thought he sold it as the leader. My whole thing with Pedro is just the overexposure. I think that's not a minority take right now. I know that's kind of some of the discourse around him.
The Pedro fatigue.
Yeah, the Pedro fatigue. Yeah, you have superhero fatigue and then Pedro fatigue.
You mash them together.
Yeah, and I know I told you guys the other night that I've been kind of looking at him like a little bit of an IP merchant, just because of the things that he's been in, and I don't like it because I do really like Pedro as an actor. I've always enjoyed him in everything. I just don't want it to. I just don't want too much Pedro.
Yeah, no, that's completely understandable.
I feel like they did enough with the casting where it was up and comers and let's try and make something out of this. And then they felt like they really needed a hard hitter for Reed. But in a sense, Pedro's still an up and comer cinema wise. Like he's still
that's true. Yeah, TV he's not necessarily a big screen guy.
So I do think that he proved that he can be a movie guy, a movie star. And I bought it. I didn't feel like he was pulling me out of the movie. I didn't think that they wrote him to overpower the movie. So I thought that was smart. But yeah, I'm excited to see him moving forward. It was just, I didn't want to be watching Pedro. And I felt like I was watching Reed Richards. So.
Okay. Tanner, what did you think about him as Reed?
I love Pedro.
Yeah.
So ever since Narcos, Game of Thrones, I've been a huge fan. And me personally, I'm really glad he's just doing anything and everything. To me, that's really cool. I've always wanted to see more of him, so I'm glad that I finally get to. Although I will say with this casting as Reed, I was a little hesitant because again, I guess I couldn't really see him as a Reed. But having watched it, thought he did good, man. Yeah. I thought he did way better than I thought it would be. I thought he would probably just be serviceable, but to me, he actually, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So personally, I'm a fan.
I think he kind of sealed the deal for me in terms of, again, having this whole cast rounded out, having that chemistry with one another, having these relationships feel extremely like, I guess like natural and then all the emotional beats. It's like everyone gets their moment to like kind of flex their acting a little bit in terms of, you know, getting across these big moments. And he 100% delivers. So yeah, I'm on board for the Pedro's Reed hype train. And yeah, I'm glad he's in it. Of course, again, I'm a big fan of his regardless, but I do think that he's genuinely really great in this.
Yeah.
genuinely terrific in this. Fantastic. In it. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
So let's talk about our villains. Shia LaBeouf, Silver Surfer, and Galactus. I mean, I thought it was a pretty menacing tandem.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you finally get to see Galactus in his form, and
right.
It was really satisfying. I just want to hear some of your guys' thoughts about them.
I think like Galactus, it's weird because it's like, yep, that's Galactus, which is like awesome. But it's so weird to say that, like, you know, that's like a big ask apparently for a Fantastic Four movie, or really any sort of Galactus portrayal, where it's like, yeah, he should look like that with like his big helmet and this big like monster man in the cosmos. That's what you get. It's really, really awesome. He's genuinely a threat. I think you understand his motivations well enough. He's just this cosmic being. So it's not like he's necessarily nefarious with his intentions. It's just that he is.
Yeah.
He just exists, and that's his purpose and whatever. But then he has his herald, Silver Surfer, and this one being Shia LaBeouf as opposed to, what is it, Norn Rad, I believe is the typical, male Silver Surfer. I know there's a lot of kind of contention with that decision, but I not only think she's terrific, performance wise, but I also think even just as a Silver Surfer adaptation, it's really good. It's like, again, you understand her motivations as to why she does what she does in service of Galactus, but I think her interactions with our main group is really good. It's like honestly ripped straight from the comics. So, what did you think?
I mean, her look is amazing.
Yeah, she looks great.
She looks really, really good. And I mean, Julia Gardner is really good. I was curious to see how she would play a Silver Surfer when she got casted. I was like, that was out of left field to me. But again, having seen it, I mean, yeah, I get why. It really good. I think, yeah, the Galactus and Silver Surfer, every time they're on screen, they grab you, and it makes it like the stakes feel so real that, like, this movie, as far as Marvel movies go, as of the last few years, this one like really had me connect with the characters and like how they approach the situation that they're in. They didn't throw in unnecessary jokes
Quips,
here and there. Just doing too much.
Nice. That was really nice.
It felt real. It felt like the stakes were real, and it just,
I think because they felt the stakes on their own backs. Like, we got to really tighten up here, guys.
And like you said,
but I like that.
All these actors in the movie, like, they're so good for a reason. And I guess them coming together in this collaborative effort to bring this movie out, it was just, their chemistry works. You could feel their chemistry on screen, and I like that.
So I want to do a little, just to kind of round it out here. I want to rank how you thought the four were portrayed.
Oh, okay.
I'll start.
Okay.
I think The Thing was number one for me. I think Sue was number two. I think Johnny was three, and I think Reed was four. And it's a tight race though for me. I don't know if you guys off the top of your head can.
I would actually almost say exactly the same, aside from I would just swap Sue and Ben.
Yeah.
That's actually what I was gonna say.
I would say Sue is just like awesome. She's like, it's again like, and it's safe to say this is the best portrayal of Sue we've gotten in these movies. I know those early 2000s with Jessica Alba.
Low bar, but
just like
they did a really good job with it.
It's such a shame that they gave her nothing to do aside from being
substance,
an object in those movies
messed up
to look at.
Sorry, Jessica Alba.
Yeah, it's not no fault of her own. It's just like product of its time.
Yeah.
And then Kate Mara didn't get anything to do, but no one did in that 2015 version. So Vanessa Kirby being a terrific actress and being able to portray this character and do the character justice, she knocked it out of the park. She is the emotional core of this group, and you feel that in this film. So yeah, I would swap those two and put her number one for me personally. But again, like you said, tight race. Yeah. Everyone's good. I would not.
I don't think there's. Go ahead.
No, I had the same ranking there. Yeah. I think, dude, Johnny, great.
Johnny was great.
It was like you were mentioning with the previous Johnnies that we've gone.
Yeah.
He completely different in certain certain situations. I really like Joseph Quinn.
And I think to be fair to Pedro, because Pedro is the leading man in all these things,
right.
but Joseph Quinn is everywhere himself right now.
Dude,
his agents put him to work, and I mean he was in Warfare this year, obviously starting with Stranger Things, but since then he's just
he was in that Quiet Place.
Yeah, Quiet Place
movie. Yeah,
I believe there's one more I'm missing that came out recently, but yeah, I mean,
everyone's good. Yeah. Everyone gets their opportunity to shine, and I think everyone absolutely delivers. Do you guys have anything else you want to kind of touch on?
No, I think.
Oh, actually, I do have one.
Yeah,
Sorry, I know I just asked you guys, but only thing, just very quick. The score is great. I genuinely love it.
Yeah,
Michael Giacchino, shout out.
Yeah,
wonderful composer. I think, and I didn't even know he was composing this film until I saw the credits, and I was like, no wonder this rips, because the guy is really, really talented. So
yeah,
that's all I'll say about that.
What else does
he did the Batman score?
Oh, okay.
I love his score for the Batman, but he's really, really talented.
Okay.
He does all kinds of big movies, you know, and he's also a director himself. Very talented man, but kills it.
It's almost haunting how some of it sounds.
That's what I liked. It felt very like this cosmic threat.
It did.
You feel that looming dread of Galactus, and I think the score
it gave me
chills.
In certain scenes.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was smart to never show Galactus in trailers outside, like his face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I really like actually getting a reveal of that whole.
Yeah, Galactus looked great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have to say. You guys want to hop into scores?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I think watching this movie, I think I was pretty set that I was feeling an 8.7 out of it, and I'm like the most solid 8.7 I can give. I didn't really feel like it blew my mind in any way, and I didn't really expect it to. I just needed it to not suck.
Yeah,
and it didn't.
8.7 doesn't suck. Yeah,
and so I was very satisfied with it. All the performances were great. But I think it's an 8.7 because I got to wait a whole year and a half for Avengers Doomsday now.
And that's okay. Take your time.
Yeah,
make it good.
Make it good.
Yeah,
make it good. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, my score, I'm going to give it a 9.3.
Okay.
I really, really enjoyed this. I think a lot of my hype building up to these last few weeks was mainly focused on Superman.
Yeah.
And just because I'm a bigger fan of that character in particular and kind of more interested in what they were kind of going for with that. But going into this, I had my reservations. I had my worries. I was optimistic, but I was a little, kind of, okay, can they pull it off? And I really almost don't even have any complaints, I guess. Like it's a tight movie. The pacing's great. Score's great. Performances are great. The effects are great. Like, honestly, I'm like, and I just enjoyed my time. I'm probably going to see it again. I saw Superman for a second time. I think I'll probably watch this again in theaters. And 9.3 for me.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I was so worried going into this one, more so than Superman. I actually was very confident in Superman being a hit. I thought this movie was just going to be okay. And I would have been fine with that, I guess, but I would have liked a little more.
Sure.
And I mean, yeah, I enjoyed this so much. I'm gonna give this a 9.2.
Nice.
It was such a good movie. It made me, it makes me want to see it again. It gave me that like Marvel vibe that I had with like all the movies coming up before it, like in the beginning, where it's like the anticipation of it all, where like a character gets announced. Oh, but it's not going to be out for like another 2 or 3 years or so. And you're like, dang, I wish I wanted now, you know? And that's kind of how it felt with this one, where it's like, I get it. And then now I'm like, oh, now I really want to see what they do going forward. Although tall ask, because now you're introducing a whole lot more, but so that's still going to be tough. But I at least have confidence in them realizing their mistakes that they've done in the past to give us something better going forward and taking their time and not rushing much. And fantastic movie.
Fantastic
cast, fantastic score, fantastic story.
Say it one more time.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll leave you with that. Thanks for joining us today. Dean Norris, take us out of here.
Hey, fans and subscribers of Backseat Filmmaking. Thank you, viewers, for watching. You need to like, subscribe, comment, And generally, don't break bad in the comments, all right? Because I'm going to, like, kick your butt, all right? You don't want the DE after your ass. So do all that and support Backseat Filmmaking.